Hey everyone, welcome back. It is the Danny Dot podcast. It's currently just after midday here in New Zealand on a Monday. I kind of had to wait until now because your girl's suffering from a sore throat and I sound like a drag queen underwater in the morning. So rest assured, I have been to the doctor this morning and I am on antibiotics because this stupid headache won't go away and I'm just a little bit under the weather. I don't know. I just haven't been able to get better over the past month. So here we are. But in saying that, it is podcast number 20. I've decided what best goes with the number 20, and that is your 20s. So I'm calling this adulting, not adultery. I kind of looked up what adultery was and I was like, whoop, safe search on Google. But adulting is the assumption of tasks, responsibilities, and behaviors traditionally associated with normal grown-up life, along with the implication that the individual in question does not particularly identify as an adult and that acting as one does not come naturally. Yeah, with me. I'm definitely one of those people that is totally stuck in 20s mindset, maybe. I don't know. I'm definitely cautious of saying to my friends, oh, I'm too old for this shit, because sometimes I look at what they get up to and I'm just like, whoa, I used to do that. I used to be able to do that. No, I can't. But in saying that, just off the bat of last podcast, a fortnight ago, I know it was about, Queenstown and stuff, and it's so crazy. The more I was talking about it, the more I sort of freaked out because the things that I was really, excited about weren't there anymore. They were closed down bars, and I was so shocked, which is why I sort of want to touch on this really quickly, just because on last week, I had an absolute weapon of a family member come over and visit me. His name's Cam, and he is my mum's cousin's son, so I don't know who that makes him to me, but he is fun. He is scalp to toe in tattoos. Totally doesn't fit the demographic of, Queenstown snooty people, that's for sure. He pulls up in this baby blue Mustang with this fur hooded coat and the window down. He looked like he stole it. I'm not saying that that's putting a stigma on what he looks like, but I cracked up. I thought, oh my God, seriously? And he just threw the keys at me and he was like, let's go to a pub. And I thought, oh, here we go. This is going to cause a bit of a ruckus, a million people's views on what he looks like. Honestly, no one cared. And I knew that was the case. But we went out in Queenstown on Wednesday. And the funniest thing was I made it a challenge to see what bars wouldn't let him in. None. They all let him in. They all had a great time. He's an absolute weapon. And I just had such a good night. I tell you, I can't. It was so good. Also, my mum's auntie's son was here, and he is I call him the inventor of the little fat lamb drink. He is someone that I just absolutely aspire to be like. His entrepreneurship is just absolutely astounding. He has always been around such a creative mind to, invent amazing drinks. And I don't know, I just love everything about him. And he managed to catch up with us at Bungalow. We had a couple of whiskeys and we were just catching up, which is funny because he was actually throwing some ideas around as to what I could talk about on the podcast. And one that really cracked me up, I don't know why I really thought about even talking about it, was the culture of party pills in Queenstown back in 2008 to 2012. When were they even legalized where you couldn't buy them anymore? Anyway, that's a whole different topic. And it's not even one that I'm even too deep diving into because I never touched on them. I only took one party pill, was half a party pill one night. And I don't know, I wasn't really into that whole vibe of what that was, but it was just really lovely bouncing ideas off someone that has so much to give. And standing there with Cam, I was like, this is crazy. Anyway, I took Cam to a strip club. It was really funny because one of the Beauty and the Geek girls from that TV show with Sophie Monk was in there, and something happened in one of the toilets and she was like, can I come in with you? And I was like, no, she's beautiful. She's not coming in here. But yeah, after the strip club, I decided I had too many vodka and sodas and I had to go find something to eat. I wasn't going to go to the Night and Day and have a boiled egg, so I ended up at McDonald's, and I haven't had takeaways for over a year, so the excitement in me was just like, I feel like I sobered up really quick. Anyway, I'm standing at this like screen thing and everything's all really up with the technology in the new Queenstown McDonald's, which was the old Salvation Army. And I don't know, I was pressing all the buttons, I was ordering all the food, I was like, yes, I want to try this, I want to try that, I'm pretty excited about all this, and then I was order number 104, and 103 comes out in its little basket, and then all of a sudden, I thought he was going to say my number, and I was so excited. The power cut. And I'm not even saying like a little bit, like, I'm saying the whole McDonald's plunged into darkness. The screens turned off, the doors locked, all of the like systems had to do a reboot over 30 minutes. I looked at Cam and he says, I looked like I was about to start a riot. Like, my look on my face was a salty motherfucker. I was so sad. Yeah, and so I said to this guy, if people aren't here to collect their orders and we're locked in for 40 minutes, can I grab their orders and I'll just eat whatever they've ordered? And he was like, yeah, no worries. You're good with like what they've had? And I says, I don't know. I don't care. Anyway, I was like running back to this table. What was I eating? I was eating a Big Mac, a McChicken, an apple pie. I burnt my mouth on an apple pie. Like, I still have a blister on my lip from that. And then with the lights sort of being dipped, I was like yelling out, whose hand's that? And Cam was like, what is happening? And I started yelling out stuff like, I survived the McDonald's power cut of August 2023. We will survive. And then, I don't know, I got really like pissed off and I started yelling out, this is so bad. Who's running this outfit? I'm going to demand free McFlurries for a year. Expect an email on Monday. Yeah, so, and then the doors got to open and the riot that was outside that came flowing through the door, I was like, oh, I hate to be still here serving these people. One of the girls was really aggressive and I said to her, hey, listen, the doors have been locked for a reason. The power went out and she went, who cares? Get out of my way. And I was like, whew, the aggression at 4 a.m. Someone needs their Big Mac. But yeah, it was just, I don't know. It's either a feast or a famine. I go forever without having any family down here, and then all of a sudden they all come at once, and I just get like swamped. But I had so much fun just chilling out. And then on Saturday, we had my cousin around with his 11-year-old son, and he's super like shy. I don't see him that often, so I understood why he was a bit sort of shy around me. But by the end of it, he was telling me about how he went and saw a Barbie movie, and he asked me if I'd seen the new Dora movie with the adult version, and I was like, man, this kid's smart. Like, no, I haven't seen that. I live in Cromwell, there's no theatre. And then the minute I said that, he turned around and he says, yeah, but I saw it in Hokitika, the Barbie movie, which is like up the west coast, and they don't even have a website. So I think Hokitika's doing better than I am at actually like going to see movies, that's for sure. I don't know, it's just been such a wonderful time. And because I got to spend that like newfound minute in Queenstown going out with Cam and seeing how the bars and everything had progressed, I haven't been out for about a year like that, when we actually started at 1876 and just wandered around like we were doing a pub crawl just like back in the day. I was a little bit like I don't know, a rabbit animal. 1876 is this fabulous bar that has all these different types of drinks that are just so inviting, and I found myself falling down the rabbit hole of mulled wine with Fireball, which was delicious. And my next drink was the Jameson Hot Toddy, which was like lemon water with a shot of Jameson, and it was delicious. But I was getting a little bit drunk and I started saying that I was taking a Lemsip, this like lemon congestion drink, and I was like, oh, I actually can breathe through my nose better now that I've had this drink. But yeah, if anything I could say about the bars in Queenstown, they just need a really good like clean. I mean, sinks in the toilets and the bathrooms are all like, missing, like they're all chipped. All the ceramic stuff's all munted, and I don't know. I just feel like they just need a repaint and a respray. Need a bit of a power wash because everything's sticky, and just some new facilities, more or less. Is that me saying because I'm a 30-year-old that I care about those kinds of things? Isn't that terrible? Oh dear. Anyway, back to my number 20 pod about adulting. When I turned 20, I was actually at Sky Bar, which is now Bungalow, and there was a D theme, and half the bar staff were dressed as doctors, and there was a Dolly Parton, a drummer. I can't actually remember most of the outfits people were wearing. It was great. I actually came as myself, I think. I was wearing a black mini dress with thigh-high fishnet stockings and a crown on my head. Lord knows why. But at that age, I mean, I don't want to really say that this pod is about all the things that you are enabled to do when you're turning 20. God, no. You can be, doing adult things early on in life. Don't get me wrong. I mean, what was I? I was in my 20s when I got my license, when the actual age in New Zealand back in those days was 14. You could sit your written and go for your restricted. There was this weird, I think you had to hold your learners for 9 months before you could have your restricted. And that's probably one of the younger things that New Zealand does. But I definitely wasn't. I was late 20s when I got my full. I only used the stupid driver's license for identification to go out anyway. But I was definitely still in my phase of not drinking cocktails and stuff. I was just, I don't know, lots of shots and drinking wine and trying not to, be a menace, I suppose. I did, however, put a question out on my Instagram, what's something that sucks to be an adult? And it was a landslide, you guys. Whitewash. Absolute bloody whitewash. Everyone said the same thing, and that was paying bills. And listen, I get that. When you sort of start attaining things that are responsibilities, such as a flat or a car or whatever, and you have to pay your warrant of fitness, your registration, your power, utilities such as I don't think anyone pays water bills around here. I don't know. I get that. It's terrible. All you want to do is spend your hard-earned money on pissing up and traveling. Yeah, I've been there too. But it was really wild because I don't know the demographic of people that listen to my pod. I don't pay attention to that. But is the fact that bills is something that comes from 20-year-olds that answer that question? Are you worried about this? Is this because of the cost of living situation? What is going on? I'm scared. But I totally get it. And also off the bat of that was the Sunday Scaries, anxiety, and just general anxiety, which that was really how can we help? I hate the Sunday Scaries as well. For me, it's one of the, even now at my age, the stupid nightclub down the street shuts at 2. So before you know it, you've gotten up on a Sunday at 9 or 10, and you're sort of jamming everything in. Whereas, is the Sunday Scaries because of something you might have said at a party the night before? I don't know. Anxiety is definitely something like that, where you get anxiety, where you may have stood on someone's toes about saying something when you've had a couple of beveraginos. I don't know. But just general anxiety, I told you all, you can deal with this. Every day is a new day, and there's definitely ways to manage your anxiety about this, that, and the other. I'm not, pushing it to the side. It comes with age, and when you get older, you learn how to deal with it better. I'm only an anxious person if I just sort of don't really know where I stand with people. And it's one of those things where some people get stressed and they stress eat. I don't. I get anxious, and if I get stressed, I recluse and I just freak out and I can't function. Even if I'm sitting on the couch just scrolling on Facebook and mum's talking to me about something, if I'm anxious, I snap and I'm hey, I can't concentrate on what you're trying to say right now. Shut up. I don't say shut up, but I just think, shh, Susan. But yeah, just for the fact that everyone's sort of notified that, when you're in your 20s, maybe it's anxiety for people that, hey, I get it. Okay, I see what you're saying. So anxiety based off the fact that you don't know what to do with your life and you're scared you're going to make some wrong choices. But in all honesty, from what I could probably say as advice, your life's only just starting. And you should probably go with an open mind that, anything could happen, but also embrace everything. Everything comes naturally. So independence and responsibility is a massive part of when you do hit your 20s. You sort of disconnect from your parents a little bit. You can make some better choices. And I get that, we're not in that real culture in New Zealand where you're pressured to do anything with your life. You can sort of make those decisions yourself. But whether or not it's the right decision, I get that. Are you anxious because maybe you don't know if you are going to make that right decision? I'm 36 and I still don't think I've won the right decision of what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, I always say I'm kind of good at what I do. And I wouldn't continue doing something if I didn't think I was better at it. But I didn't study to do this. It came with my character. It's natural. Whereas I hate it when, you take so much time out of your life to be in your 20s and study for something that you don't stick with. Yeah, that's anxiety. I'd be anxious about an outcome there too. Which is funny because I had that conversation with a guy at a bar with Cam. He was telling us that he worked all through his 20s, night shift being a bartender at a nightclub. And I thought, holy shit, mate, you've literally just not squashed your time, but I would never say that, wasting it working in a nightclub when you could be on the other side of the bar, which obviously he's had days off and he can actually have those downtimes and drink and everything else. But I wouldn't consume myself to a night job if I was, finding my feet and making decisions. Oh, no. But yeah, some of the best things that you can find as an adult, for me, I love the whole independence and freedom to buy my own food and drink as just, someone that enjoys experimenting with food. I think when I was younger, Mum definitely gave me a side eye, you probably shouldn't be cooking that, or I always felt like I was stepping on her toes when she was cooking me and Tom dinner, that whatever she's brought is this is how it goes. And then all of a sudden you turn 20 and you start cooking for yourself. And she was all, what's this? Is this good for you? Right. I was like, oh no. And I love traveling. So there's definitely this free for all when you get to just wander the world. And as you get into your 20s, other countries allow you to drink. And I don't think I was really touching on America when I was early 20s, because I know that they're quite strict with alcohol laws. But when you start having those experiences and learning about different countries and everything else, it's the best part. And I also say this goes hand in hand with your non-serious job. I get that people study and they commit to a career quite early on in life, but I definitely think that if you have something that's not serious, working in retail where you don't give two shits when you call in sick or whatever, what if someone called you and said, hey, let's drive to Christchurch and let's just go and catch up with someone, and you're in this serious corporate job trying to make a buck and you can't. I think that being young, you get to make really fun choices that could be a bit detrimental the older that you get. But for now, just go out and do it. Who cares? I had a job in retail, and I'm telling you, the older you get, the more shit it is to call in sick. It's not easy. You feel like you're letting the team down. I don't know. There's just weird things that come with it. But one of my favorite things to do when I was, making those decisions in my 20s was definitely going on day trips. I don't think I ever really turned down anyone who offered to take me on a day trip, whether it was anywhere. If I was working, I'd call in sick. If I was doing something else, I would always abandon that for the sake of doing a day trip. And I do remember this one time that I was somewhere, I can't remember if it's North or South Stradbroke Island off the coast of Brisbane, with some friends that took me to Cylinder Beach, and it still plays on in my mind as one of my favourite days ever. When you sit on the beach, you have a couple of drinks, have a cheese board, everything else, and then you go home, you got sand in your hair, you got an amazing sunburn tan thing going on, and you just sort of you're content, your vitamin D's been topped up, you're just humble, and you have a shower and you wash that sand out of your hair and you slide into your bed and you turn the aircon on because you know that you're past that adulting stress phase where you can't pay for power. And just sort of enjoy those moments, because I would hate to look back and think, shit, I didn't do that, but I should have, because that would have been a really great, learning curve or whatever. And I have never been back to Cylinder Beach, to be quite honest, and I definitely should, because my God, I loved it so much. However, there's also a little tidbit here about hookups in my 20s. Of course, I'd sort of dropped myself in this a little bit. What can I say about this? Some poor choices I made. Well, in Queenstown, we have this friggin' burger bar, Ferg Burger, and I would probably tell you that if you haven't hooked up in the Ferg Burger queue, you're not going to. And that's like the last resort. I did, twice. One night, I just sort of remember, I actually have abandoned burgers before. I've ordered it, met some guy, gone home with them, left my burger behind. I laugh at this now because I just remember this random guy from Nelson who was down, and I went back to his place, and I ended up back at my place after his place, and I took my burger with me. So I like literally, I'm like such a bin chicken about this. I left the burger on the floor, and then I grabbed it as I was leaving. I'm not proud of this, but I had an oil fin heater and I was so hungover. I lay there for about 4 hours turning my Ferg burger on the oil fin heater, trying to warm it up. Yuck! Why am I not dead, really? And the other time would be, I got into the taxi with this random guy, and we went to the Frankton Arms somewhere, like the beach. I don't even remember. It wasn't close to his accommodation. It wasn't close to my house. And we hooked up under a tree, and I remember waking up. I don't even know how long I was asleep for. And I looked behind me, and there's this guy in his living room window just drinking his cup of coffee, just looking directly at me. And this guy that I was with, he'd gone. I had no idea. I still had my phone, my wallet, my handbag. Nothing was stolen. It was just my stupid dusty ass waking up under this tree. But I do think that when you're in your 20s, you get to have these really fun experiences where you just think, shit. And yeah, I would 100% just go for everything. Who cares? Live your best life. That's what you say these days, don't you? On that note, I'll move into some life updates. My family has now introduced a new baby. We had baby Arlo join us on Saturday. My cousin in Australia had a baby boy, and baby mum is doing really well as well. I got to catch up over video call yesterday. And I tell you, just hearing that he was born filled my cup. His sister is also pregnant, and between the two of them, they didn't want to release genders. No one knows what anyone's having, which makes it terribly difficult for someone like me who's coming over with a box load of presents. I'm like, I don't know how to buy gender neutral presents. Anyway, to hear that there's a little baby boy is just so fulfilling. Oh God, I'm so excited. And as I am in Australia in 9 days. Cup is going to be sufficiently filled. Got some really great wedding, family and friends time coming, and I think I'll do a pod next Monday just before I fly out on Wednesday. But as say, we'll take it all by ear. My budget is literally almost done. The cruise was paid. Me and Mum paid that, and then we had a glass of bubbles just to celebrate, because that was a hectic amount of money that I had to come up with in 2 months. I was like, oh, far out, Susan. Really throwing it on me. But the thing is that now until November 1, I have to save for spending money. And I don't know why I sort of forecasted this, but I put aside $1,500, and Mum cracked up laughing. She was like, you're on a boat. You're not spending any money on anything. What are you doing? Why are you saving? And I was like, oh, no. Well, it's probably because we can't have the drinks package, because P&O doesn't do that. They do this responsible service of alcohol for Melbourne Cup. So it's pay per drink, and I sort of got a little bit nervous. I was like, oh shit. But in saying that, I'm not going to be drunk the whole time. I have family on the cruise, and I am just really aware of just enjoying myself. So, oh yeah, look, I don't know. And then I've got my bestie here the week after, and then it's like Christmas and New Year's, and then I've got a really great friend coming in February. A whole bucket load of concerts and stuff. So I started jotting down past all these budget things that I was really putting money towards to actually what next, And I think it's really exciting that the world is opening up and there's heaps of movement and lots of, concerts and stuff. But for some reason, like, I feel like I'm on the bones of my ass more so than I've ever been because I'm just like, shit. But in saying that, my brother's definitely in a position to buy a house at the moment. It's super exciting in our family, but nothing's really fitting what he needs his house. He's not picky. He's just got a fair few, things that he wants. And I just sort of laughed. I said to Mum, this is ridiculous. If he can't purchase property based off the fact that he's the most chill person and he just needs, sort of different things, what's someone like me who just needs to buy a piece of land going to be stuck with, But also, if I buy the land, I don't know how long it's going to take to actually, like, put anything on it. And if I had a batch, when am I going to have time to go to the batch? Oh, I don't know. I feel like I had to take a little step back on the whole, like, I don't know, purchasing of something like an asset, whereas I fell down the rabbit hole of finding out about investments and not just like shares and crypto and stuff like that, because that's just kind of not really where I'm vibing, but investing in something where I could do like compound interest, because in New Zealand savings accounts are really, really low on their saving interest rates. So I don't know, I'm sort of stretching my legs out a little bit in some different areas. So I'm a little excited, but lo and behold, don't stress, I have my budget done and I am very proud of myself. Didn't take much, but took something. I was like, oh. The wine of the week, I'm going to say me and Mum got back on the cask thing and had a Pinot Gris in the orange box from Countdown. She loved it. And her mum used to drink cask wine, but she was like, it's come a long way. I think I told you that last podcast. So I don't know. I can't fault this cask. However, I would definitely say that the mulled wine with a shot of Fireball at 1876 was definitely a goer. Oh my goodness me. I don't know if it was because it was freezing outside, but the whole thing just tastes like Christmas in a cup and it was stunning. So I definitely rate that. My book that I've been reading, the 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think, I got stuck on page 70, and I know there's a handful of people reading this at the minute. It's part of an essay called 101 Things That Are Worth Thinking About More Than Whatever's Consuming You. And that essay is like I'm not stupid. I've read this essay 4 times, but I feel like over these 101 things, I sometimes like reread and I'm like, okay, that's really amazing. One of the things that really cracked me up, that was one of the like worth thinking about more than whatever's consuming you, is how will you remember this time in your life 20 years from now? What will you wish you had done or stopped doing? What have you overlooked? And what little things you didn't realize you should have appreciated? I hope that out of everyone listening to me in 20 years' time to this day, someone is going to message me and say, remember when you did that podcast about being 20 again? And where do you think you had overlooked something? Or what's something that you didn't realize you should have appreciated? I appreciate every single one of you guys who are listening to me and, helping me fulfill my hobby and my joy that makes me so happy, because honestly, my job sometimes is sort of like negative. It is positive in its own way, but sometimes I feel like I need to throw the book at it and just be like, I'm done. I don't want to be in this industry anymore. Right. However, the joy of actually being able to record something that comes off my own experiences and vulnerability is my pride of place, hands down. And to think that every sort of episode is a different combination of people that are joining us. People drop off and then they binge 3 at a time. The whole thing is just so great. And I just am so thankful for this opportunity. But more or less, like in 20 years' time, holy crap, where am I going to be? What am I now? 36? Would I be 56? Oh, 4 years off 60. That's scary. But these 101 things worth thinking about more than whatever's consuming you is like some of the really, really good things to think about. I mean, what does yes feel like to you? People very often focus on the warning signs that something's wrong, but not the subtle songs. It's the subtle signals that something is right. Yeah, I get that. Anyway, I love that essay. I just definitely recommended it. Oh, I sort of like went a bit forward there with a couple of other ones. We are definitely moving past that page 70, I promise you. Oh, it's just one of those things. I'm moving at a snail's pace with this book because I just am wrapped up in it. Oh, it's weird. So for me, in the house lately, we have been getting air conditioning installed, and I have had 3 different businesses come and give us quotes for some ideas as to how we can air condition our living room because it's like 12 meters. And, look, I don't care. Apparently, though, I'm not allowed to be in the backyard this year with a paddling pool and a glass of wine like I've been threatening all the other times. Susan's put her foot down and says, no, we're getting air conditioning. I don't know how, but we're going to do it because there's just different components to our living area that we need to take into consideration. So it's been really wild having 3 different businesses basically fight for which system to use. However, in our garage, it's kind of like a hoarder's nightmare because we've got my flat, my brother's flat, and my mum's storage. Also, my brother's got his weapon of a jet ski. So we had this really little guy. Like he was like 5 foot nothing, which is not little. I apologize if anyone's 5 foot. He says to me, oh, can I just get up into your manhole and have a look on the roof to see how we could install this? And I was like, oh, shit, here we go. How are we going to get you through to the manhole because everything's in its way? And anyway, I had the garage door up and my neighbour came over and these little legs were hanging out the manhole. And it looked terrible. And they were like, what's going on? I says, I'm trying to get air conditioning installed. This is a nightmare. But I think we've come to an amicable family decision as to what we should be doing, and I'm so grateful because that was a nightmare, and I'm glad it's over. But also, on that note, we've decided to upgrade our oven, which is super exciting because when we built this house, I didn't do anything. My brother built this house. It was based off the fact that we were going to sell it, and then my mum got super attached to it because Tom had written things on different beams in the house, and he'd like plastered over them, and there's just different, like almost like a time capsule. And so I don't know, mum's gone to sell it twice and she can't. She's like, oh, I love this house, your brother built it, rah rah. So we are upgrading the oven, which is making me very happy because I feel like we don't use the oven because it never had fan bake or fan grill, and we always use the air fryer. So we went shopping at Harvey Norman. I don't know why I end up there. It's just such a vibe. And we got to pick out a new one, which I'm very excited. It's got all the bells and whistles. However, I was in there and I walked past a device that I have been searching for about 1.5 years. And I'm not even going to lie, Danny Dot listeners, I was a very excited young lady. I almost screamed. Is the Ninja Creamy. Now look, this is this device where you freeze anything, and I mean anything, and it whips it up and turns it into ice cream. And it might not even be the most easiest of ingredients. There are definitely ways to do it dairy free. And then there's like full blown like instant pudding, cream, chocolate, sugar, diabetic overload. And quite frankly, I've fallen down that rabbit hole for the past week. But I have definitely got to sort of play with the settings a little bit more just to find my base mixture that I like, because it can't be good having this much dairy. And it's one of them things that the container's not big, but it's not small. But sometimes I'm like, oh, it's fine, I can finish the whole lot. And I'm like, I shouldn't have finished the whole lot. Oh my God. So if you look up like TikToks, the Ninja Creamy has people in America that use, what do they call it? Like strawberry or cheesecake flavored jelly to make sort of, not really like cream freeze, I would say, like Mr. Whoopi cream freeze. And so we in New Zealand don't have that. I had to like sub in something. So I decided to start using vanilla instant pudding. It's so fun. Oh my God. So I freeze instant pudding with cream and milk, like half, and not anything extra. And then you whip it into cream freeze. And then you can add in mix-ins. And there's an actual button that says that you can add in like anything, like biscuits, you know, muesli, peanuts, chocolate sauce. I don't know. Who cares? And I have a favourite restaurant, a favourite ice cream shop in Australia called Cold Rock. Is it Cold Rock? I keep calling it Hard Rock and everyone was telling me off. Cold Rock. So what they do is they get your favourite ice cream and they sort of like mash it around on this ice block and they turn it into cream freeze and they add your favourite sweets. Oh my God, you guys, I have the machine in my house. And what was really great about it was the fact that they were $600, and because Harvey Norman had a display model, I got to take that for shrapnel. Yeah, and I was walking out of Harvey with this bloody big creamy machine on my shoulder, and Mum's like, "What is that?" And I stood there. I says, "You can buy an oven, Susan, but I'm buying an ice cream maker." She was like, "What the fuck?" And it comes in 3 containers, which is really flexible because right now I'm freezing what the hell were they? Blackberries, because I'm going to make blackberry sorbet. And then I sort of touched on making protein yogurt. So I was freezing yogurt to add to protein powder and maybe turn into a thick shake. Anyway, I got my containers wrong. I swear these things should come with like labels. Anyway, I went to make Mum a thick shake, a chocolate thick shake yesterday, and I was so like excited to push the thick shake button. I was like, what's going to happen? No one knows. This is so cool. And she's like significantly like hates yogurt, like the smell, everything. She's like, get it away from me. And I thought I was like mixing up this decadent bloody chocolate thick shake with like a vanilla instant pudding base. I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. And then I gave it to her. Oh my God. She almost like spat it on the carpet. And all of a sudden I had to try and drink it. I was like, oh, this is sick. So yeah, I think I need to buy like some pen or some shit to write on these containers because I can't let that happen again. If it keeps happening, she's not going to trust me and she's not going to eat what I make her. And that's just not okay. So I'm thoroughly enjoying all my creations in the creamy thing. And what was really cool was I went to the doctor this morning and I was messaging a friend saying I was at the supermarket and I was specifically buying things that would go in ice cream. How terrible is that? And honestly, the stuff I was at the cash register buying, the lady would have thought I was mad or like some diabetic binging female. Who broke your heart? Yeah, well, exactly. The Tinder update's really funny. So I actually had 2 invitations to go to the Symphony concert up on Coronet Peak on Saturday. I was kind of weirded out by it though because I didn't want someone to like, I don't know, there's something really weird about going to a concert as the first time you meet someone because you can't talk. And anyway, to be honest, hearing about the feedback about the concert, I was like, people were standing behind fences and they were mad. So sort of glad I didn't go to that. But also a couple of times I keep seeing people posting just wheelchair emojis, like a man in a wheelchair. And on Saturday, I actually like replied and I was like, hey, I'm all good. What's with the wheelchair emoji? And the answer, brilliant. I'm telling you, very creative. This guy actually messaged back and he says, what did he say? I said, I questioned the wheelchair, and he says, what it means is that I'm wheeling into your DMs. But the fact that there was like 2 or 3, I'm sure there was 3 people that had the same thing, just a wheelchair emoji. Just who comes up with this shit? I'm wheeling into your emojis. I'm not maybe I could do a snowboarding female and snowboard into someone's DMs. I'm going to try it out. Anyway, so that's where we're at with that. And honestly, I haven't really paid too much attention because I've been a little bit consumed with my family's attendance in Queenstown, which has just been, I think I only fall down the Tinder rabbit hole when I haven't got anything else going on. And I'm like, oh, well, we'll see what's going on around here. So still haven't actually been on any dates or anything. No. Just a whole lot of chatter, which is really lovely. And being invited to Symphony. But one of the Symphony invites was actually someone that I knew. I swiped on him, he swiped on me, which was all good, but I wouldn't see myself pursuing a future or anything. I just thought he was a crack up and I wanted to say hi. And he was like, I've got a spare ticket to Symphony. No. But But anyway, that's where we're at. I hope that I can get better, and next Monday I sound not as terrible. I've actually tried to get through this to complete it, just because I don't want to drag myself on and ruin my throat any further. However, I love you all. Thank you so much for listening today, and I hope everyone takes care and just gets through this bitterly winter part of winter. But I don't think it's that cold. I don't know. I go through phases and I'm like, and then I'm like, oh, it's really hot. Take care. If anyone needs anything, please reach out. I think I've changed my Instagram handle to just danny.pod, which if you're still following, you'll still see it. It's all good. But it was just confusing some people. I can't find you, rah. It's all right. You weren't looking hard enough. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, love you all. Take care, and I will speak to you all again soon. Bye.